It's that time again for Taio's Top 10 Anticipated Games of 2017. But before that, let's take a quick look at the games I really liked in 2016. Number 10, Star Ocean Integrity and Faithlessness and God Eater Resurrection. Now, I lumped these two together because I was running out of games I really liked in 2016, and I didn't play much of either of them, but I enjoyed my time with them. I really like what they did with the text in Star Ocean, where it kind of just pops up above characters' heads. Also, you can run around in cinematics. That's kind of weird. God Eater Resurrection is a really fun Monster Hunter clone. I like that your weapon can transform and work in both close range and long range. So I'll have to go back to these games later. Number 9. Rayman Adventures. Probably the most fun runner I've ever played on a phone. I just like it that you can swipe to turn your character around. Feels like you have a bit more freedom than other runners on phones. Number 8, Star Fox Zero. Should have been much higher on the list if Nintendo had just tried a little bit harder and made the second screen gimmick not a requirement to play the game. I think some of the vehicles were ripped right out of Pilot Wings, and several of the all-range bosses are tedious to fight against, but overall I did enjoy my time with this game, though it is a bit weird that the Landmaster can fly. Cool, but weird. I love running around in a chicken walker! Number 7, Attack on Titan Wings of Freedom. This game came out of nowhere and blew me away. Now, I knew the game was coming. I didn't realize it would be this much fun. They really nailed the whole ODM gear feel. It's super easy to go swinging around and attacking Titans. I need to get back to playing this game, but my computer sucks, so I better get a better graphics card first. Number 6, Pokken Tournament. Now this is a game I was really impressed with. I love the graphics. I wish that we got a Pokemon Stadium game that looked like this. Well, then again, with a Nintendo Switch, the next Pokemon game might look like this. Who knows? Either way, please bring out DLC so I can play as Caesar. It's my favorite Pokemon. Love this game. Nice rock, paper, scissors setup. It's also interesting that it switches from like moving around in 3D to side view. Like, what other fighting games do that? Number 5, Kirby Planet Robobot. I never imagined that a Kirby game would end up this high on my list. It was a great idea to make it so that Kirby gets a mech that can transform just like he can. It's a really well done Kirby game. What can I say? I hope they have other great ideas like this. And I hope they add mechs to other Nintendo franchises too. How could you go wrong? Number 4, Uncharted 4. Now normally an Uncharted game wouldn't end up this high on my list, mostly because I'm not a big fan of standard shooting games. But this is, I think, the best Uncharted so far. I had no idea that Nathan's brother was going to be such a great character, and they nailed the stealth. Finally, I've always had problems with stealth in the other Uncharted games, but here with the tall grass, it works pretty good. And it finally feels like I'm playing an action movie, which is what Naughty Dog's goal was the entire time. I still really love Uncharted 2, but I think this one tops it. Number 3, Pokemon Go. Okay, I know what you're thinking. You're all thinking, Taio, what are you, nuts? Why would you put Pokemon Go over Uncharted 4? I'm not saying Pokemon Go is better. I'm not saying that Pokemon Go is a better game than Uncharted 4 or any of the other games on this list for that matter. What I am saying is that Pokemon Go has consumed my life. It's not a very good game, but I play it every day, and no other game other than Animal Crossing has ever gotten me to do that. Heck, I've gotten most of the Pokemon now, and I'm still playing it. When is Johto gonna arrive? Other than babies! Number 2, Monster Hunter Generations. Normally, Monster Hunter would make the top of the list, but this year, number 1 has brought something special. Still, Monster Hunter Generations is a phenomenal game, and it's still the best one in the series. It takes everything that 4 Ultimate built and improves on it by adding hunter styles and hunter skills, which really mixes up the gameplay, that we've been needing for a while. I also like the fact that you can play as a Prowler. That's pretty cool. You can play as Little Kitty. That's awesome. Not to mention they simplified a lot of the mechanics like finding Palicos, so I'm all for it. Monster Hunter Generations. If you love Monster Hunter, you will adore this game. And finally, number 1! Pokemon Sun. Like I said, Monster Hunter would normally be at the top of the list, but what can I say? They finally did it. They made a Pokemon game with everything I've been asking for. I've wanted them to get rid of HMs since the first game. I hated HMs. I think we all hated HMs, and they finally did it. They made it so that you can manipulate a Pokemon's IVs later in the game, so Pokemon you find in the wild and like your starter Pokemon. If you want them to have perfect IVs later, you could totally do that. That's awesome. They even made it so your PC Pokemon are useful. They go around and are your little slaves in the mine. I mean, they do chores for you. So yeah, Pokemon Sun. I love this game. Alright, so yeah, a lot of good games in 2016, so let's move on to my top 10 anticipated list of 2017. Starting with number 10, Nefarious. For a while, I couldn't figure out what I was going to put at number 10. At first I thought maybe Parappa the Rapper HD, but that's just going to be the same game with better graphics. Then I thought maybe Fire Emblem Heroes, which I'm kind of looking forward to, but there's no gameplay footage of it, so screw that. And then I discovered that Nefarious is coming out. Nefarious is a little indie game that I heard about a long time ago. I was very intrigued by the concept. You actually play as the bad guy and you kidnap princesses, and during boss fights, you're the boss. It brings back a lot of classic boss encounters like the ball and chain from Sonic, and you're controlling the ball and chain. Or in an RPG battle, you're the giant boss that the heroes are fighting. It's such a clever idea. Not to mention the graphics style is very cartoony and adorable. It's adorable. I mean, how many games let you play as the villain? I mean, there's stuff like Grand Theft Auto, but even then you could argue, well, you're just playing as a guy trying to make ends meet or just trying to live by banging hookers. Anyway, it's a concept I've personally never seen before, or at least never as impressive as this. Nefarious, I'm looking forward to it. Now let's move on to number 9. Kingdom Hearts 2.8 Final Chapters, or whatever the heck this game is called. This is also low on the list because for the most part it's just a port. The bulk of it is containing Dream Drop Distance redone in HD graphics for the PlayStation 4. I'm sure I'll play a little of that, though what I'm looking forward to most is definitely the itty bitty part new game you get to play as Aqua. That should be pretty fun if, like I said, short. Definitely going to be playing that first when I pick this game up. This is also the reason that I'm making this list right now, because this game's coming out in just a few days. Also, there's some type of tacked on movie, which I'm sure I'll watch because I'm a big Kingdom Hearts fan, but I'm sure it's just going to be a load of blah blah blah, hearts, darkness, Keyblade, gibberish, so not looking too forward to that one. Number 8, Crash Bandicoot Remake Trilogy. I think there's an official name for this, but I'm just going to call it Remake Trilogy because that's what it is. Who would have thought that they would recreate every single level from the original Crash Bandicoot games, like 3 of them? Like, one of them I could totally see, but all 3 of them at once? That's a bit weird. I've never been that big of a Crash Bandicoot fan, though I did play the original trilogy on the PlayStation. I think the first one is pretty bad compared to the other 2, which are excellent platformers. Man, what is up with Naughty Dog striking out on the first game and then hitting a home run? They keep doing that. Well, I guess it has something to do with them just getting down the basic gameplay and then, refining it in the sequel. Like every video game that's ever been made. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I've always thought Coco is a pretty cute character, so looking forward to seeing her in HD. Number 7, Sonic Mania. Okay, this game looks really fun. Now, I've never exactly asked for a recreation, like a new Sonic game that uses the old sprites from the old games. I've never asked for that, but I enjoyed the Sonic Advance and Rush games, so this should be right up my alley. Also, I could finally play as a character other than Sonic. Could we stop getting these damn modern Sonic games that think having more playable characters is a bad idea? It's like, after Heroes, I think they decided, okay, we got way too many characters. People aren't liking it. They aren't liking the cast. Let's switch it over to just Sonic. And that was a really dumb idea because people do like Knuckles. People do like Tails. They just didn't like characters like Big and Big! So yeah, please let this continue the trend of allowing me to play as Tails, my favorite video game character. Don't mock me for that. You and your stupid, Tails didn't he caused trouble in the special stages of Sonic 2. It's always the same thing they bring up with Tails. Fuck you. Also, the fact that it's coming out on the Switch makes me pretty excited because it means I can play it portably. The Switch. There's going to be quite a few Switch games on this list, just so you know. Number 6. Valkyria Azure Revolution. Okay, the funny thing is I had decided this would be on my list a long time ago, but it wasn't until today, like right before I started recording this, that I watched any gameplay from it. I mostly just went off articles talking about gameplay. And of course, there is the fact that I am a huge Valkyrie Chronicles fan. I beat the first one, I played most of the second one, at some point I just stopped. I didn't like the story that much in the second one. The story was amazing in the first one though. Unfortunately, I never got to play the third one. There was a fan translation later, but I just didn't bother with it. It's a shame because I hear it's a really great story. Oh well, maybe someday. But it's great to see Valkyrie Chronicles back on a big, powerful Sony system. Because the first Valkyrie Chronicles looks so good. Like, honestly, I think it's one of the best looking games of that generation. Of course, it came back with an HD remake, but I think it already looked fantastic in the first place. So I'm not sure why they brought it back with, I don't know, 4K or I don't know what's going on there. Either way, it looked perfect on the PlayStation 3. I didn't think it needed to be improved. But that's enough talk about the first Valkyrie Chronicles game. Azure Revolution looks pretty good. I love the way the game looks. They did a great job designing the characters and love all the bloom effects and how the world is designed. I'll be very interested to see how the story goes, considering it definitely looks like it takes place during a different time period. I'm noticing a big increase in actionate gameplay compared to the original, which I'm fine with. I love action games the most. I love real-time RPGs the most out of RPGs. So if it's handled well and still keeps the strategic elements, which I think it still has, I think we should be good to go. Looking forward to this game. Day one purchase, absolutely. Number 5, ARMS. Okay, there's been a lot of a negative response to this game when it was first announced, and honestly, I think the first few seconds of the trailer were horrible, showing the little girl with the arms. That was a really dumb way to introduce it. But I think when you look at the game, especially when you play the game, it's looking really good. I mean, it's funny because anyone who's just seen footage of it and didn't attend the Switch event is kind of like, oh, I'm not interested in this game at all. It looks stupid. I don't know what Nintendo's doing. But the people who have played the game, and their word is a lot more valuable than other people. I was going to name names, but I don't feel like naming names right now. Yeah, people who have actually played the game really enjoy it, and they say they want to buy it. So I'm looking forward to it, and honestly, we need more IPs. I was so happy when we got Splatoon in the last generation because I want more IPs from Nintendo. I love Nintendo to bits, and I want to see more than Mario. I want to see more than Zelda. So it's great that we got, Ribbon Girl and Spring Boy or whatever the heck his name is. I've seen the trailer like once, people. But I think it's going to be great. And if you don't like motion controls, you can play it with standard controls. I wonder if that's something that people knew about before writing it off the second they saw it. ARMS. I'm not going to buy it without reading the reviews, but at the same time, I think it's going to be a good game, and I'm looking forward to it. Number 4, Ukulele. Wow. I love Rare. Emphasis on loved, past tense there.
Rare.
Built my childhood on so many great games. Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, Donkey Kong Country. I could go on and on. I adored Rare when I was growing up, and it broke my heart when Microsoft bought them. Oh, you're making a pirate game. There are people that still support Rare in the state it's in, and I will never understand this. I mean, heck, they're not even making Killer Instinct anymore. That was a completely different development team. They're making some pirate game that I have no interest in. Maybe it'll turn out to be good, but I just don't care. Rare is dead to me.
Playtonic is not.
Playtonic is a group of old Rare developers that are coming together to build Rare-like games, and if Ukulele is any indication of what they're going to be working on next, I think Rare is back in a big way, and they're constantly getting old members from Rare to join them. I am so excited for what Playtonic is bringing us. And first, of course, we've got Ukulele. Honestly, we might as well call it Banjo 3, because that's what it is. They went out to make a spiritual successor to Banjo-Tooie, and I think that's what we're getting. It looks really fun. The character designs are so rare. The comedy is so rare. It just looks like Banjo-Tooie taken onto a whole new level. I'm not sure if I'm going to purchase it day one, even though I really want it, because I might just wait for a Switch version. It was canceled on the Wii U, but I think they are going to be making a Switch version, and I'd love to play this game on the go. I've always wanted a sequel to Banjo-Tooie because that was such an amazing game. You notice I'm not saying Banjo-Kazooie because Banjo-Kazooie actually had a sequel, Banjo-Tooie. I think people forget that sometimes. So yeah, Ukulele, I'll buy it day one when it comes out on the Switch, that's for sure. Number 3. Mario Odyssey. So when I initially saw the footage of a new Mario game for the first reveal of the Switch, I thought, okay, it looks good, 3D Mario, but how are they going to take it up to the next level? Like, where do you go from Galaxy? Because Galaxy was such a unique experience running around spheroids. It's like, you didn't get that on any other game at the time, and it was such a revolution for Mario. So where do you go from there? Apparently you go open world. It seriously looks like Mario has just wandered into Grand Theft Auto and he's just running around. And of course, I know that's just one area. That is just one area. And that's something that I think a lot of people are not getting, is that is not what the whole game looks like. That's just one world that Mario can go to. So don't just freak out and be like, oh, why is he going here? It looks ridiculous. I agree, it does look kind of jarring to see Mario in this environment, but at the same time, I'm sure it's going to be fun jumping around those buildings, so I don't care. Not to mention the hat mechanic looks pretty interesting. You can get a little more horizontal movement by jumping on the hat, so I think that could be really good. I mean, the spin move from Mario Galaxy had a good amount of strategy to how you move Mario through these environments. So I'm looking forward to it. It looks great. It's another day one purchase for me. And yes, I will be getting a Switch at launch. That's something I haven't announced yet. Switch at launch, and the strategy guides are definitely going to play some Switch, like the day I get my hands on it. A little bit of a Switch tangent there. Moving on to number 2, which oddly enough, the name of this game has a 2 in it. Splatoon 2, which for the longest time I thought would be named Splatoon. You know, see what I did there? Putting the 2 in the middle of the... Yeah, I know it's stupid. I got the idea from Banjo-Tooie. But Splatoon looks great. I've wanted a portable Splatoon for a while. I didn't think they'd make it on the 3DS, and of course I'm right. I mean, just the way the ink works and everything, it was not happening. But at last, I will be getting my portable Splatoon. And, you know, a lot of people are arguing that the Switch isn't worth it so far with the current lineup of games this year, specifically at launch, but Splatoon 2 is coming out. I can play Breath of the Wild until it does, so I'm fine picking it up before Splatoon. But I have to say that if the only game they announced for this system was Splatoon 2, this would infuriate people. But if the only game they announced coming out this year for the Switch was Splatoon 2, I would still buy it, because I am such a huge fan of Splatoon. I mean, I didn't make it up to level 50 in the original game, but I made it up to like level 36 or 37 or something, so I got reasonably high. I played it for hours and hours and hours, and I adored the characters, I adored the environments and the gameplay. It was the first competitive online shooter that I actually got a lot of enjoyment from. I don't play Team Fortress, I don't play Call of Duty, I don't care about any of those games. But Splatoon, there was something about it that just drawed me in. It's kind of like how I don't like turn-based RPGs. I hate them. They're just not for me. But Pokemon is the only one I can get into. I don't know, it's just something about Nintendo. They just have a way of making certain genres of games that get me into them that other companies can't. But yes, Splatoon 2, new weapons, more customization. You get pants, you can change your tentacle styles now. They're not just all the same style. And what I'm hoping they'll have a greatly improved campaign, because although I liked Octo Valley in the original game, it's way too short. So I'm hoping that there'll be a lot more to come, and they added ink rails to multiplayer, finally. Splatoon 2. It's the only game I needed to have me get a Switch. Good job, Nintendo. And the number 1 game I'm looking forward to this year, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild does look phenomenal, and I love Zelda. I love every Zelda game. except for that one dungeon in Phantom Hourglass. You know the one! But for the most part, I've played just about every Zelda game in existence. My favorite one story-wise is Wind Waker. Gameplay-wise, I couldn't tell you. Maybe Link Between Worlds, now that I think about it. That was a really good one. But just the fact that they're finally shaking up the Zelda formula and letting us explore a huge open place. Like, it's just like Nomura said, if you see it, you can go there. And that's what Zelda's been needing for the longest time. One thing I wasn't sold on at first was I was a little worried because they hadn't shown much cinematics or characters or stuff that you can meet, which they remedied with the Switch announcement where they showed a whole bunch of characters and cinematics, and I was like, that's what sold me. I was like, oh, characters. That's one of the things I love most about Zelda. For Aaron and James Rolfe and all these people, it's just the gameplay, but I do love the characters. I do love the cinematics, and to know that they're there in Breath of the Wild and they look beautiful, that's what sells me on it, and I can't wait to play it the day the Switch launches. Well, that about wraps it up, guys. Thanks for watching my overly long video. This is going to be like 35 minutes by the time I edit it down. But yeah, thanks for watching my overly long video. And thanks to YouTube adding wonderful end screen options. I can say that there is a subscribe button up here in whatever corner I like, probably the upper left hand corner, because that's where it goes by default, and I'm too lazy to move it. And I've got a few playlists here for Ape Escape over here, and if you want to check out a Let's Play channel that me and my friend Mike do, then you can click on this end screen option over here. I don't know what we call these, end screen option, I guess. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time for more Ape Escape.